Hello. Today I want to show you some basic Excel functions. First, I'm going to show you how to autofit, how to do sorting, how to do autofill, how to do sum, and a simple math equation. First thing here, I have all my columns in this Excel spreadsheet really narrow, and I want to autofit this so that I can see everything. So the best way and the easiest way to autofit is to highlight this left corner over here so it highlights the entire spreadsheet, and find any spacing between the columns. So it can be column A, B, B, C, it doesn't matter. And hover over it until you see this double arrow and a vertical line going through that double arrow. And once you have that double arrow, all you need to do is double click. And hence, you have auto-fitted all your columns. Now the next thing I want to do is, I have some information here, some sales information, and a couple of the information seems like they are for the same household. So for example, John Doe and Jane Doe. And I want to sort this information so that all the households are together. So the easiest way to sort is to highlight all the columns that you want to sort, choose Sort and Filter, and then choose Custom Sort, and make sure that you get this checkbox that says My Data Has Headers. If your data doesn't have headers, you can uncheck that checkbox. But in this instance, my data does have headers, so I'm going to check that checkbox. Now I'm going to choose to sort by street address, then by city, then by state, then by zip, then by country. And then I can add sorting for name and anything else here, say transaction date. So what it's going to do is it's going to first sort based on the street, city, state, and zip and country, so that all my households, all similar households, are sorted together. Then it will go on to sort by first name and then transaction date. Now once I have all the columns that I want to sort by, I simply click OK. So here I have Jane Doe and John Doe sorted together at the very top. The next thing that I want to show you is how to do autofill. Here you may notice that the country is only populated for Jane Doe and John Doe, but it's not for the records below. And the easiest way to autofill is to highlight the cell in which you want the data to copy from, and then simply place your cursor until you get a plus sign, and that cursor should be placed to the bottom right corner of that cell. And if you simply double click, it will autofill the information in the selected cell down to all the cells below that. The next thing I want to show you is to sum. Summing is to aggregate your numbers in an additive fashion. So here I want to sum all my transaction price and all my costs. So I'm going to put that sum value right below all my records. And what I'll do is I'll add a total label here, tab over, and then I am going to use the sum formula to add all these transaction prices up, and then further to add all these costs up. So to use the sum formula, simply place your cursor into the cell in which you want the sum formula to exist. Type equal sum, open parentheses, and then select your range that you want to sum by. So I want to sum this entire range from K2 through K11. Close my parentheses and then hit enter. Now I have a total sum for transaction price. Now to sum the transaction cost, you can do the same thing, or you can simply right click, choose copy, and then go over to the transaction cost column, right click, and choose paste. Now notice that if I look at the formula here for the transaction cost, it equals sum L2 through L11. That's because Excel is smart enough to know that you want to copy that same formula, but you want to sum on this column. The last thing that I want to show you is just a simple math equation, a simple subtraction problem. Here I have an empty column called transaction profit. And transaction profit is just simply the price minus the cost. So like any other formula in Excel, you start out with equal, and then you select the cell that you want to subtract from, and then you type the minus sign, and then you select the cell that you want to subtract. So that would be K2 minus L2. And then you hit enter. So here I have the result of transaction price minus cost for this first line. Now, instead of having to type that formula over for the remaining 9 records, what I'm simply going to do is use the autofill that I taught you earlier. So to use the autofill, click on the cell that you have your data in which you want to copy from. Now the neat thing about this autofill is that it will copy the formula but change the row value. So here I click on cell M2, and notice my formula is K2 minus L2. So that's K2 minus L2. Now I'm going to autofill the remaining rows. So to do that, again, place your cursor at the bottom right corner of that cell and simply double click. And notice, once I've autofilled, that all my transaction profit amounts are the result of transaction price minus cost for their respective rows. And again, that's because Excel is smart enough to know that when you're using autofill, that you're doing it row by row or column by column. That's all I have today for some basic Excel training, part 1. Be sure to check me out for additional basic Excel training, part 2. Thank you.